Audio test, audio test. Audio test. Check, check, 1, 2. Audio test, audio test. Check, check, 1, 2. Shoot 2. Audio test.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Cassidy Schaefer, and I was asked to give the welcome speech today. But I've already said welcome, so now what, right? Well, these past couple of months leading up to graduation, I realized that there's still quite a few people who don't understand what it is that we do as SLPs. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity to just give you guys a brief rundown on what the 24 of us are going to be doing now that we're finally done with grad school. So I think the quickest way I can do this is by sharing with you what we call the Big Nine, or just our 9 major scopes of practice. The first two are probably the most obvious: speech and language. We can help a client with a speech disorder by helping them correctly produce speech sounds, while a client with a language disorder, we might work on naming objects, maybe different grammatical structures, or even just learning how to make a simple request. We can also help clients with fluency, or what you guys probably know as stuttering. But did you know that there's a fluency disorder called cluttering as well? Our fourth scope of practice is social communication, or what we call pragmatics. This might consist of teaching a client how to share, or maybe how to read body language, and so much more. Our fifth scope is cognition. As SLPs, we can work with patients with dementia, traumatic brain injury, or even just a child who's having trouble remembering a simple 3-step direction. Excuse me, sorry. The sixth one, hard to keep track. The sixth one is voice. So as SLPs, we can assist people in rehabilitating their voice after phonotrauma or vocal abuse. We can also help a client learn a new way to speak again after receiving a tracheostomy. However, sometimes a client can't use verbal speech, and that's when our seventh scope comes into play, and that is augmentative and alternative communication, or what we call AAC. We can use AAC to offer clients another means to communicate. That can be through writing, maybe picture symbols on an iPad, or even sign language. It's really so awesome how AAC can be used so that literally anyone and everyone can have a voice. Number 8 is hearing. We as SLPs can treat someone with hearing loss by helping them to identify and distinguish between different speech sounds, and we can also do hearing screenings as well. And finally, our 9th scope is swallowing. As SLPs, we are experts on everything from here up. So if a client's aspirating as they swallow, or maybe their tongue comes forward instead of moves back when they swallow, we're the people who will diagnose and treat that. That's kind of a lot, but honestly, I barely even scraped the surface of what it is we can do as SLPs. So I encourage you all to ask us about it, because we've worked so hard these about last 6 years of our lives, and I think I can speak for everyone when I say it's something that we're really passionate about, so we're more than willing to share with you all. So just thank you again for being here with us today. I hope you enjoy being part of the closing of one of the biggest chapters of our lives, and just enjoy the rest of the ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cassidy. I will now invite to the stage our SLP Class of 2023 speakers, Allison Ader and Chase Johnson.
Welcome, everybody, and congratulations not only to my classmates, but also to all our friends, family, and loved ones that are here today. I congratulate you as well, because we wouldn't be here without your help in the process, whether it was emotional support, spiritual support, financial support, right, Mom? We wouldn't be here without you, so thank you for joining. Our first steps in grad school began on I just completely blanked, sorry. August 26, 2021. We came together as separate people, not knowing what it is that we were going to get ourselves into. And I'm sure you're wondering the same thing. What have we been up to for the past 2 years? Well, Alice and I put together a nice visual aid to help describe everything that we learned over these past years, and it is also a tribute to our professors for guiding us in this process.
Our first class started at 8:30 a.m., which means the majority of us were there by 7:50 a.m., eager to learn. We were dressed in our best attire with new school supplies, fully charged laptops, and coffees in hand. Some of us, multiple coffees in hand.
The first professor that we met was Dr. Paul. She is our grad school coordinator, and she was our primary professor as she taught over half of our classes first semester and throughout the entire program. Bless her heart for the amount of patience that required. Throughout our time with Dr. Paul, she taught us all that she knows about strokes, brain injuries, motor speech disorders, dysphagia, cognition, dementia, aging, research, and much more. Our class described her as extremely intelligent, passionate, genuine, and go figure, patient. A classmate even went on to say, Dr. Paul, thank you for teaching us to always be curious. You have provided us with a strong foundation to implement effective assessment and treatment approaches. You have also provided us with a skill set to appropriately research and find additional evidence-based practice to better support our neurological disorder clients. Thank you for your countless hours of effort to set us up for success.
We were first introduced to Mrs. Bukins when we got our first clients at our on-campus clinic. Mrs. Bukins taught us the inner workings of all things clinic, such as scheduling, professionalism, how to make the most of our clock hours, and everyone's favorite, insurance. She explained that we would be earning 400 clock hours in 9 different areas of evaluation and treatment throughout our time at our on-campus clinic and during our 2 12-week off-campus placements. These areas, also known as the Big 9, are articulation, fluency, voice and resonance, language, cognition, hearing, swallowing, social communication, and communication modalities. She instilled in us that we are the biggest advocates for our clients and ourselves. Classmates describe her as outgoing, talkative, and the ultimate multitasker. Our class wants to thank Mrs. Bukins for the work she does to help us get off-campus placements, answering our endless questions, and for always being flexible. Dr. Mehrhoff instructed our class in a variety of topics, including voice and pediatric swallowing, in addition to being a clinic supervisor to many of us on campus. We will never forget completing our final voice disorder project, which included us utilizing the VisiPitch, a voice analysis software that uses real-time data to see differences in a person's voice, and many of us concluding that we ourselves had voice disorders due to the numbers that the VisiPitch gave us. Our class describes Dr. Mehrhoff as knowledgeable, supportive, and witty. She taught us to anticipate the next steps and targets for a client, as well as to see the humor in it all when things inevitably do not go as planned. Thank you for being a guiding light when it comes to unfamiliar client populations and seemingly endless portfolio questions.
As we continued to endure grad school throughout our second semester, our eagerness for knowledge persisted. However, our appearance priorities shifted as we took on additional clients in our on-campus clinic and got our first exposure to night classes, some of us spending up to 12 hours a day on campus. Mrs. Stotts is one of those professors that exposed us to night class. In addition to supervising all of us at least once in clinic, sometimes twice, Mrs. Stotts taught us all that she knows about pediatrics and the field of cognition, particularly in the realm of autism spectrum disorder. We learned the importance of regulating one's sensory needs because when their impaired communication system isn't fully intact and their sensory needs aren't met, that's going to be the first to go. She taught us the benefits of additional communication support such as visual schedules, timers, token boards, social stories, comic strips, and much more to better support the individuals we serve. We also gained confidence and knowledge around topics such as joint attention, central coherence, and social reciprocity. When classmates think of Mrs. Stotts, words such as creative, enthusiastic, caring, and I quote, fashionista come to mind. Classmates thank Mrs. Stotts for showing us how to step outside our comfort zones, especially through her very humbling and important reflection that no matter how much time, effort, work, or the number of resources you dedicate to a specialty, you are not automatically an expert on that topic, because the field of speech-language pathology is constantly evolving, and we need to remain eager to learn and grow within the field to remain knowledgeable and current with our skill sets.
Dr. Pyle is our program chair and was always one to start our classes by asking how we were doing when she saw a sea of stressed faces looking back at her. She instructed our class in child language disorders, cleft palates, and stuttering. She helped our class better understand what to expect from a child's language as they develop and gave us helpful study strategies to utilize when trying to retain the seemingly endless information surrounding cleft palates and resonance. Our class describes her as compassionate, positive, and approachable.
One classmate went on to say that Dr. Pyle was a kind and welcoming presence in the department. You can't help but smile when you see her walking around the department. We would like to thank Dr. Pyle for always having an open door and being an excellent resource for any questions we might have.
Mrs. Woolen also had the hefty task of supervising majority of us at some point in time. She also stepped into the challenge of exposing and teaching us the sometimes intimidating and always vast field of augmentative and alternative communication. In addition, she tackled the growing pains of us seeing clients via telehealth. Giving speech therapy to a 6-year-old over Zoom isn't always the easiest, but she was there to support us every step of the way. Classmates describe her as kind-hearted, friendly, always smiling, and supportive. Classmates will remember Mrs. Woolen for her adaptability, confidence with approaching new communication devices and systems head-on, and her readiness to teach us these skills. I personally will always remember a special lesson Mrs. Woolen taught me as her graduate assistant. When we're helping our clients, we are the most trained on communication. But if you happen to make a silly mistake, all you have to tell yourself is, "I'm so pretty."
As our first year came to a close, many of us began our first externships. Our class had placements in private practices, skilled nursing facilities, acute care settings, and inpatient rehab facilities, just to name a few. This 12-week hands-on experience allowed us to gain important clinical skills that we had been developing during our time in our on-campus clinic. This was also a time to allow us to use these skills more independently while also learning from our off-campus supervisors. We would like to take the time to thank those supervisors that welcomed us into their workplace and let us learn alongside them during our 2 externship experiences.
Our second year of grad school had many of our classes turning to a hybrid format or completely online. Dr. Paul, does this view look familiar? Yes. This darn thing. We also want to give a special thank you to Dr. Drake, Mrs. Ring, Mrs. Mead, Mr. Visey, and Ms. Plankers as our adjunct professors and supervisors. They helped us learn how to functionally implement our knowledge regarding neurological disorders, motor speech disorders, augmentative and alternative communication, and hearing with our clients.
So, as Chase and I asked our classmates about what they had to say about our professors, we also asked our professors for some words of advice for our class as we enter the profession. Here are a few words that they had to say.
Your education does not end here. Keep learning and enjoy the ride. I am so proud of all of you, and I can't wait to hear about your great things you will do in the profession.
Eat lunch, drink water, breathe, get up and move, leave work at work. Tomorrow is another day. You need to take care of yourself in order to take care of your clients or students.
Remind yourself often that you are making a positive difference being an SLP, even on those hard days. Make it a priority to take the time to keep learning, connect with your clients, and keep being kind.
This is a vast field with so many opportunities to help others. Find that spot where you have a supportive team to surround you and at least a few cases that bring you joy.
Someone gave me a list. Number 1, always do your job. There will be tough days, but there will always be awesome days. Don't let the bad outweigh the good. Number 2, keep asking questions and be a lifelong learner. 3, don't underestimate your worth. 4, you are not married to the job. Find balance to love your work and have other hobbies. And 5, don't lose touch with your professors. It's like saying goodbye to all of your baby chicks flying out of the nest. We miss you and love hearing what you're up to.
Some inspirational quotes were additionally shared. These include, Not being able to speak is not the same as having nothing to say. The purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to help others. Albert Schweitzer. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what you give. Winston Churchill. Let no one ever come to you without leaving better and happier. Mother Teresa.
And classmates, from Allison and I, together we have learned how to be SLPs. Separately, we will go out and change the lives of others. Thank you.
So, before we go, our class wants to recognize a very special classmate of ours. In addition to managing the long hours, grueling coursework, intense clinical practice, and a hectic day-to-day schedule of grad school, one of our classmates came out triumphant with the additional responsibility of raising two very special young girls. Her and her family navigated this process together with many additional stressors life tends to throw our way.
You have inspired our class, and we wanted to give a token of appreciation for doing so. And I would be remiss to mention, you did so in true mom fashion by providing all of our classmates with earrings for tomorrow's graduation. So everyone, please help me in congratulating our amazing classmate and spectacular mom, Casey Brodvig, with what the class of 2023 is calling the Super Mom Award.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Chase and Allison, for those lovely words. We will now proceed to the hooding of our 2023 candidates for the Master of Science in Speech Language Pathology. A few instructions as we get going. Our SLP first-year graduate student, Beth McDonald, will be announcing the graduates and those hooding their graduate, as listed in the graduate program. We ask that you please come forward to the stairs on my left, both graduates and those who will be hooding their graduate. You will proceed up the stairs where you will receive your hood from first-year graduate assistants Dayla and Tyler, and then you will proceed to the middle of the stage right in front of this M, where you will hood your graduate, pause for smiles and pictures, and then proceed down to my right, your left stairs. So coming up, proceeding across and down that way. If you would come up and meet your graduate 2 to 3 people ahead. There will be a first-year graduate student, Gabby, helping to usher everyone forward so that we have a nice, smooth ceremony moving through, okay? All right, Beth, if you would come up and we'll proceed to the hooding.
Okay, first we're gonna have Allison Jean Ader, hooded by Rob and Jenny Ader. Gabby Bukins, hooded by Chris and Jill Bukins. Reese Blago, hooded by Tamara Blago and Dr. Elaine Pyle. Casey Brudvik, hooded by Emma, June, and Brady Brudvik. Brian Connolly, hooded by Jim and Diane Connolly. Jenna Fisher, hooded by Jim and Tracy Fisher. Allie Harder, hooded by Steve and Audrey Harder. Kaylin Husagen, hooded by Jennifer Roweeder and Keith Husagen. Olivia Nicole Ersfeld, hooded by Dennis and Pam Ersfeld. Chase Daniel Johnson, hooded by Chris Johnson and Cassie Potts. Calissa Klemick, hooded by Stacy and Lisa Klemick. Sophie Lang, hooded by Chris and Doug Lang. Bobby Marie Lewis, hooded by Judy and Tim Lewis. Brinley Nielsen, hooded by Judy Wesley and Travis Nielsen. Cheyenne Oline, hooded by Brian and Christine Oline. Lakin Fifely, hooded by Brian Fifely and Linnell DeBull. Berlin Taylor Solway, hooded by London Solway. Cassidy Schaefer, hooded by Sean and Lanny Schaefer. Emma Steckler, hooded by Brian and Lisa Steckler. Kylie Isabella Stuwag, hooded by Lisa and Brian Stuwag. Danielle Swart, hooded by Jill Swenson and Wade Swenson. Elizabeth Marilyn Thompson, hooded by Wendy and Andy Thompson. Whitney Joe Voss, hooded by Chad and Joy Voss. Logan Marie Winter, hooded by Kristen Winter. Congratulations to the MSUM SLP class of 2023. We will now hear from graduate Casey Bredvik for our closing remarks.
Hello, fellow graduates, professors, and families. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Casey, and I'm a member of the SLP class of 2023. I am a daughter, a wife, and most importantly, as you all know now, I'm a mother. Prior to starting grad school, we were asked to fill out a survey about ourselves. It contained information like if we have a spouse or a significant other, or maybe if we had children, and various other things. On the first day of grad school, Dr. Paul showed us the results. At one point, she said, "One of your classmates is married and has children." Everyone was looking around, so I just looked around with them. Once my cohort figured out that it was me, it was all over. I was the designated mother hen of the group. I even began referring to the other students as the kids to my husband and friends. On several occasions, it was apparent that I was much older than my new adoptive children. For example, during one class, a discussion about Grey's Anatomy broke out. Eventually, the conversation turned to, "When did that show come out?" To which Cassidy, I believe, replied, "It came out in 2005. Wow, I was like 5. Knowing full well I was close to graduating high school in 2005, I just exited the conversation. On another occasion, we had a potluck dinner during one of our night classes. I made a dish earlier that day and brought it to class. As I walked by Olivia to grab a plate, she asked, "Casey, did you make the cheese balls?" To which I replied, "Yep." She said, "I thought so. Your plate looks like a mom's." There was also the time that Mrs. Stotts asked the class if we knew Leave It to Beaver or any of the characters, to which Chase shouted, "Casey does." All jokes aside, being a mom in grad school is not easy. I spent countless nights up late trying to complete assignments, and every free second of my life was spent with my computer in my lap. However, being a mom also gave me a unique perspective on my classmates. As their surrogate mother, I was able to watch them grow and achieve remarkable things. Like a mom, I worried about them when they looked sad or defeated, and I felt excited for them when they passed something difficult. Most importantly, as a mom, I can say all of you family members in the crowd have a lot to be proud of, and for that, I think they deserve a round of applause. I know firsthand that life happens while you're in grad school. It doesn't slow down for you, and it certainly doesn't make the process easy. However, I feel as though I can speak for my entire cohort when I say the professors in this program are outstanding. Not only are they willing to help with anything you ask of them, but they're also the shoulders that so many of us have cried on and the encouragement that so many of us needed. Thank you for being the compassionate leaders that you are. Finally, our families deserve an enormous thank you for being our support system throughout the process. None of us could have been successful without the amazing people we have behind the scenes, pushing us to keep going. Class of 2023, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for joining us during this special event. Please join us for refreshments and pictures after the ceremony outside. Class of 2023, would you please come to the stage for a class photo? Thank you.
If you'd like to, thank you all for joining us today. If you'd like to come forward to take pictures, certainly do so. Hopefully it's still nice outdoors and we can get some fresh air out there too. Thank you all for joining us today.